If you don't focus on marketing and sales, most likely you'll fail. I don't know how else to put it.
That's your problem, Evan. You don't want to get famous.
Get disturbed with inaction and take uncomfortable, imperfect action today.
Rise and shine, it's espresso time. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I am not a morning person. I'm not. But when you start your day off with a powerful routine that inspires you for success, like watching one of these videos, it will change your life. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you, and get ready for a shot of espresso from Dean Graziosi.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
You know the movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner? It might be before your time, maybe you never saw it, but it was a whole concept of if you build it, they will come. It was about his father was a professional baseball player, and he kept having these dreams and these visions and heard this voice of if you build it, they will come, and he built this awesome baseball field out in the middle of his farm in a corn patch, and then all the ghosts of baseball past came and played. Amazing movie, great, inspirational, but that's unfortunately how most people feel about their businesses. They feel if you build something good enough, if you build the right, or you find the right widget, or you create something people need, that if it's so good, or if you write a book and it's so good, or you create a course and it's so good, or if you become a real estate investor and you're so good, if you build it, they will come. And guess what? They will not come. That's the biggest misconception people have about business. What happens is there's some outliers. There's a book every couple of years that just gets written and virally goes nuts. There's a video that gets made and it goes viral and everybody sees it. There's a product that's created and you see it and you don't hear anything behind the scenes. You just think they built it and people came. And that's not true. You see, if you don't focus your energy in your business, in your new side income, in the thing that you have passion for, if you don't focus on marketing and sales, most likely you'll fail. I don't know how else to put it. I'm just going to put it the way it is. People who don't obsess on marketing and sales fail. Here's what I know. I wanted to help change people's lives through showing them how I made money in cars and real estate. My first course to teach other people was called Motor Millions, because that's what I did. I hustled cars in my teens, my early 20s. I'd match buyers and sellers. I'd fix wreck cars, and I made a living. In fact, I got into real estate while I was doing cars. The cars what paid my bills. And I started with no money, so I wanted to show people how to make money with cars. I created a course called Motor Millions. Now, that was amazing. And I just thought, hey, I'm going to build this great course, being naive. I'm going to build this great course, show people I did it, and people are just going to buy it. That wasn't the case. I had to learn how to market, and that was tough because it went against everything. In fact, I used to think maybe marketing and sales was a little a little shady. Absolutely not. Everything you do, you're being marketed to. Everything you do, been sold to. Sales and marketing are the oxygen of every successful company. Remember that. Sales and marketing are the oxygen for every successful company. And think about it. Can you go without oxygen? Heck no. Can a business go without marketing and sales? Heck no. So then I built my first real estate course to teach people how I made money with real estate. Was called Think a Little Different. Same thing. Think a Little Different did pretty good. It was a great course. Showed people how to make money in real estate. It was a great course, but it wasn't a monster hit. And then I started realizing that what I was sharing with people, the benefits of my course, the benefits of my experience, the benefits of people not have to learn through their own trial and error. They can learn from my trial and error. All of that was there. But I was still doing okay. Several $1 million in sales. Profits were tiny. And then I realized what I was missing is I needed to obsess on marketing and sales. I need not to become a good marketer, not good with sales. I had to become amazing at it.
If people don't know you, you're not going to be able to build a business. If people don't know you, you're not going to be able to make any sales. If people don't know you, you're not going to be able to accomplish your dreams. And if people don't know you, you're not going to be able to have the impact that you know you're capable of having. I used to fight with my agent for years on this. I've got the same agent as Grant Cardone, Mel Robbins, a bunch of other thought leaders, and he would always push me. He would always push Evan. You need to get famous. Evan, you need to get famous. Evan, you need to get famous. Why don't you want to get famous? Like, Steve, I don't want to be famous. I have no need to be famous. I'm introverted. I'm shy. I don't need to get famous. I have no desire for it. And he said, that's your problem. Like, why is that my problem? That's your problem, Evan. You don't want to get famous. Like, okay. And so it just ended up being this fight between us until finally it sunk in. Maybe it was the words that he used, or maybe it was me being more open and receptive to actually hearing his message. But he said, Evan, the more people know you, the more you can actually accomplish your mission. Like, oh, crap. He's right. The more people who know me, the more I can have an impact. If I say I want to solve the world's biggest problem, it's just people don't believe in themselves enough. If I say that that is my aspiration, that's my mission, that's my purpose for the rest of my life, well, for me to actually accomplish that, it's going to be a lot harder. People don't know who I am. So people knowing me is more about serving and helping than it is about my ego and me being famous. People need to know me so they can hear my story so I can have the impact. And it's the same thing for you. When people know what you've been through, when people know what you're capable of, when people know you, they like you, they respect you, they trust you, they're much more willing to listen to you, to help be influenced by you, to make a better decision for their life or business because you know what you're talking about. So how do you actually do it? I'm going to give you 3 different techniques. Number 1 is understand, are you better at sales or marketing? Some people are great at both, but for the most part, people tend to fall into one of the 2 camps. Sales or marketing. So sales, you're going to be the person who's doing the phone calls, who's knocking on the doors, who's doing the cold emails and cold DMs and drumming up a lot of attention, right? It's like the person who loves sitting next to somebody on the airplane, the person who loves going to conferences and events and networking and saying hi and introducing themselves and say, hi, I'm Evan, I do this. What do you do? Great. And you're looking for sales opportunities. Some people are great at that. I am not great at that. I do not enjoy it. I don't want to get great at it. And if my business relied on sales, I would have to do a lot more prep work. I'd have to get a lot more skills. Luckily, there's also marketing, and I'm a great marketer, and I love marketing so much more. So the marketing is you're now becoming the magnet. Sales is just going off hunting. Marketing is more like farming. You are being the magnet that are bringing people to you. I want people to come to me so that I can help them. And so how I do that is if I'm going to an event, I'll be doing speaking. So I speak at an event instead of just attending the event because I'm not going to be the guy going up to everybody saying, hi, I'm Evan, here's my card, etc. I want to speak, and ideally I speak on day 1. If it's a multi-day event, I want to speak on day 1 as soon as at the beginning as possible, because that gives me the setup to then just wander the halls for the next 3 days and have people come up and talk to me. Not because I'm so great and look at me and I'm too good to talk to you. It's the opposite. I'm too shy and scared and nervous to go up and talk to people. So I give people a reason to come and talk to me. And on stage, I'll say, I'm shy and I'm introverted and I hate coming up and talking to people. But if that's you, if I've said something here on stage, I'm going to be hanging out in the hallways for the next couple of days. If that's you and you can relate and you've got a question, it's my favorite part of all time is to help. So please come and find me, even if you're scared. But I'll set that up and give them permission because I think we see people on stage and they look so fancy and perfect. Like, hey, I'm just as scared and shy as you are. So come up and say hi, and if I can help, I'd love to. Right? So that's more marketing. Marketing is creating content. Marketing is setting yourself up to be that magnet for people to come and find you. But you need one or the other. If you can have both, fantastic, but you definitely need at least one of them. Because if you're just writing a book, it's not enough. So many people think, oh my gosh, you're going to write this book and it's going to be amazing, and then nobody buys it. Well, because you didn't do enough sales or enough marketing, right? So how do you do sales and marketing for a book? Well, sales is calling up all of your friends, anybody who's ever done any business with you, any person who you know in your contact list, and saying, hey, can you buy my book? Hey, will you buy my book? Hey, if you buy 100 copies of my book, I'll do X for you. And you spend your day hitting up the phones, persuading people to buy your book, and what are you going to give them in return? Marketing is creating content. Marketing is going on people's podcasts. Marketing is going on people's YouTube channels. Marketing is doing Instagram lives with people. Marketing is doing traditional media to talk about the messaging behind the book. Both work. Both can drive a tremendous amount of sales. What are you better at? Decide. Sales or marketing, pick one and start getting better at it. Step number 2 is to share your story. This was really hard for me. I used to feel, again, that who cares about my story? I'm telling the stories of some of the legends in the business world. I'm telling the stories of Steve Jobs and Oprah Winfrey and these people. Who cares about my story? I never felt like it was worth talking about because sure, I sold the business and had a nice exit, but I hadn't done anything close to the people that I was profiling. So go learn from them. You don't need to learn from me. And I kept getting feedback over and over and over again. And this took a long time to sink in, and hopefully it sinks in faster for you. So that, Evan, what's your story? Why did you start this? Where did you come from? Why do you make these videos? And we had a request line for my top 10 rules of success videos. And I would ask for recommendations. Like, who do you want me to do a top 10 on next? Oprah or Kanye or whoever, like who's the person? And the number one requested person was me. And I always felt like, that's crazy. I'm not going to make videos on myself. That's just way too egotistical. I'm not going to do it. They just like me, or it's just a joke. They don't actually care. They don't actually want my videos on me. I'll go back and do another Steve Jobs video. And 1 year for my birthday, my team and some of my super fans surprised me and made a top 10 video on me and put it up on my channel.
He's a former venture capitalist, radio host, YouTube personality, and entrepreneur.
He sold his first company at 19.
He set 2 world records.
He aimed to help 1 billion entrepreneurs.
He's Evan Carmichael, and here are his top 10 rules for success.
And like, what did you guys do? I mean, on the one hand, so much gratitude and love of thank you. I can't believe you spent all this time working it. And then on the other hand, this is a video on my channel. Are you guys crazy? What? And it actually did pretty well. And the comments were very kind and overwhelming. And since then we've done more, and it's taken me a long time to come out of my shell and be willing to share the story. And the thing that helped again is I'm not sharing the story for me. I'm sharing the story to show how much I care. You're sharing the story to show how much you care. The difference between you and your big competitors. Why should somebody buy from you instead of some big brand name? Why should I buy from a small business owner instead of some giant company? That giant company's been around for years. They have a reputation. They have a great return policy. There's so many reasons to go there. Why should I go with you? Unless it's price, and you don't want to be competing on price. Well, I go to you because I feel like you care. I go to you because I feel like I'm not treated like a number. But in order to get that feeling, you have to tell me your story. So you have to be willing to at least say the foundation story. Why did you start this business? Why does it mean so much to you? Why should I come and buy from you? Not in a scammy, salesy way, but just in a, I care so much more about you than the big company does, and here's why. And letting that love and energy and passion come through so I can feel it. Because if I can feel it, I'm much more likely to want to buy from you instead of somebody else. And step number 3 is come back to service. When you can default to service, I think it gives you the courage you need to take the action that needs to get taken. As long as you feel like it's about you. This is why I fought with my agent Steve. This is why I fought with my team on sharing my story. They were telling me the right things, but I was always too afraid and too shy and too nervous and too scared because I felt like it was too much about me. Every time I can flip it to service, to say it's not about me, but it's about the audience, it's about helping entrepreneurs, that somebody can learn through my story, that somebody can learn through the way that I show up, that somebody can learn through what I've been through, and it might give them a little bit more encouragement, that maybe, just maybe, somebody can't learn from Steve Jobs what they can learn from Evan Carmichael. And maybe, just maybe, somebody can't learn from Evan Carmichael, but they can learn from you. But they don't know who you are. So if you have the courage to show up and share your story, if you have the courage to put yourself on the line like that and risk judgment and risk people talking about you, by showing up, you allow others who are like you to feel normal. By sharing your story, you allow the people who've gone through the same thing that you've gone through, maybe they are going through right now, you give them permission to feel hope, to feel inspiration, to feel courage, because you had the audacity to share your story and to put it out there. And the thing that can give you the courage, and it still is what I use today, when I'm going in front of the camera, when I'm going on the stage, every time I think it's about me, I get scared, I procrastinate, I don't want to do it, and I'll have to always remind myself who this is for. When it's the camera, I look at some of my comments and I see, oh, this is who I'm doing it for. And when I'm on stage, I'll peek behind the curtain and pick some people out in the audience and say, that's who I'm doing it for. And so if you're at all like me and worried about ego and fame and all that, remind yourself that it's not about you. That your mission is way bigger than you. That your vision is way bigger than you. And when you can tie it back to service, to say, I am doing it for others. I am doing it for people like me. I'm doing it for the next generation. I'm doing it to break the pattern of silence. Because people who've gone through what you went through are often silent. And you're going to break that pattern and give hope and inspiration to others and maybe save a couple lives along the way because you had the courage to speak up. Now I've got some special bonus clips that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you just watch a video and you get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of actually following through. That's not good enough, Believe Nation. We need to take some action. But when you watch a video, you get motivated and you create a specific plan of action, that number jumps from 35% to 91% chance of you following through. And when you publicly commit to other people, like leaving a comment down in this video, your number jumps to 95% chance of you actually following through on the plan you set for yourself. So I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Leave it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you.
So what's up, man? It's good to see you. I see you all over the place. I see you hustling. Dude, your book, Built to Serve, you are built to serve. There's a difference when, I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I've been in the self-education industry for 24. Doesn't even seem possible. But there's a lot of people that when you kind of meet your heroes or you meet the people behind the book, a habits book, a Built to Serve book, a time management. It's like you meet the guy with the time management book and he's late getting on stage and stressed out of his mind in the green room. Like, there's no congruency is what I wanted to say. And before we chat today, I just want to honor you and give you congruency. What you wrote in this book is really who you are, man. You are built to serve. If you didn't check out Evan's Built to Serve, you should check it out. The truth is, I'm not all the way done. I freaking love it. My biggest problem is every book I read, Evan, I listen. I have such a hard time reading. I still have dyslexia. It still doesn't stick. So it's taken me longer, but when I actually read a book, it sticks. So highly recommend it. And it's just you. It's like it's having a 200-page conversation with you, which is always cool.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. Well, I also have an audiobook version. I read it myself, so there's always
dude, please send that to me. Get really disturbed, because when we're disturbed, we move. You stand on hot pavement, what do? Do you stand there and go, wow, this hurts? You run your ass off to get off the hot pavement because you're disturbed, because it's painful. Let the pain sink in. Get disturbed with inaction and take uncomfortable, imperfect action today, not next week, not when it feels right, now.
There's a part actually that I wanted to go over in your book called the 7 Levels Deep. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And this is an exercise that you do, right? And what is this exercise for? Okay. And how does it go?
Okay, so 7 Levels Deep was probably the biggest impact, the biggest thing in the impact of my life ever.
Really?
Yeah, one day. So I hired a guy named Joe Stump. Do you know Joe Stump?
No.
Great guy. He's in the marketing world, but I hired him because I want more engagement with my students. So it's all about, if you can get somebody to digest some of your book. If somebody will read 30 pages of your book, they'll read the whole book. But how do you get them to the first 30 pages? So I'm always obsessing and trying to create ethical bribes, whatever I can do to get you to take action, right? We know books work. It's the books and the action. So anyway, so Joe comes in and I said, I want to do whatever I can. And he said, have you ever done the 7 levels deep? I don't know where he got it from. This is probably about 8 years ago. She was 2. So about 8 years ago. And I said, well, if it's good, just give it to me.
Right.
I'll take it. I'll take it. And he's like, I want to go through it with you. I'm like, listen. And I paid Joe $10,000 for half a day of consulting at the time. And he's like, I said, I don't want to go through. I just want it. He goes, I won't give it to you unless you do it. So we sit there. And what the 7 levels deep is finding, everybody wants to know your purpose and what's this meaning of life and what's my why and all that. I get it. And it's kind of played out. But I don't know if anything really gets to the heart of it as simple as this. So what it basically was, he's like, why would you give me $10,000 for half a day? And I said, because I want to create a company that stands out from everybody else. I want to engage more students, change more lives. And he basically said to me, that's a really great answer. So I asked you why I'm here. And you said you want to engage more students and get more people to change their lives. So why is it important for you to engage more students and change people's lives? And I remember saying, there's a lot of people in this industry that shouldn't be here, and there's some great people. I want to help rise all boats of the good and push the rest down. I want to leave a legacy for my kids. So he said, okay, I asked you why you paid me $10,000. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. And he's like, you did this. You said you wanted to stand out and you wanted to leave a legacy. So why is it important to leave a legacy? And the whole point is asking the previous question 7 times. I took that day. By the time I got to the 3rd question, what happens is when there was 3 questions left, I should say, he asked me 4 times, it switched from my head to my heart. And I felt my physiology change. I felt my emotions change. I felt like tears welling up. And when he asked me, and I don't even remember what the 4th thing I said, but the 3rd thing I said was, I never want to go backwards. And he got me thinking about things I haven't thought about in years.
Wow.
I didn't like being the kid with hand-me-downs, and I'd make my parents drop me off down the street with their junky car, and I'd go to lunch. And this is not a poor me. My life was designed to be exactly the way it was, or I wouldn't be the man or the father I am today. But there was days I'd go to school without lunch money, and I just tell my buddies I'm not hungry because we didn't have a buck, right? So I never want to go back there. And I felt that emotion, and it hit me so hard. I'm like, that's what it is. And he's like, well, there's 2 more left. So he said, Dean, why is it important that you never go backwards? And I'm like, God, I don't know. And it hit me, and I thought, my kids, I just want to give them options. I don't want to raise entitled kids or brats, but I want to give them options that I didn't have. And I'm like, that's it. So he's like, well, that's not really it, 'cause it's 7. It's not 9. It's not 5. It's 7 levels deep. And by now I'm crying because I'm thinking about my kids, literally. And I got half my staff there, and I'm like just weeping. And it came to me. He said, why is that important? And it just hit me. And I never knew why I worked so hard since I was cutting firewood in high school and did all this stuff. I said, I need to be in control of my life. And these emotions flooded in my parents. Everybody's got their thing, right? But for me, and I'm saying this because I want you at home to be, or when you're watching this, listen to this. I realized that my parents were married 9 times when I was a kid. So I moved 20 times by the time I was 19. Different stepbrothers, stepsisters.
Both parents were married.
5 for my dad, 5 for my mom, 4 for my dad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's crazy. Always moving. Like military kids know what that feels like, right? So I'd be in a cul-de-sac with a new stepdad, stepbrother, stepsisters, have the bike, come home one day, and my mom's like, we're moving again. And then I move in with my dad, move in with my grandmother. So I had this crazy hopscotch my whole childhood.
No certainty.
There was no certainty. So what I realized at that moment, literally, I'm bawling. I mean, like literally crying. It's like, I don't want anybody to ever tell me when to move, how to dress, how to live, how to work, how I'm going to raise my kids. It's definitely not going to kiss somebody's ass for money. Right. And I realized at that moment, my why was I don't want to be a control freak. I just want to be in control. When I was 27, I retired both my parents. I stopped worrying about, I took care of my grandmother. I take care of some, so I got those problems out of the way. And when I anchored that in, and you watching at home, it's like, if you think you're watching this because you want to be an entrepreneur, or you already are. If you're watching this, you've already had great success in your life. You want that next level, or maybe it's income, or better health, or better diet, or better physiology, whatever it is you want. So many times we think it's because I want to get out of that job. I want this freedom. I just want more money. I want to take the better vacations. And it's 7 times deeper than that. And when you find that, and the reason I know this, not only because it wasn't just transformational to me, is I did live events in Las Vegas for 6 years straight. Every single month, there was 400 people in the room that paid $20,000 to go to
real estate events, right?
Real estate events. So about 5.5 years I did them every month in Las Vegas. So once a month I'd fly in, And that was like the highest level. And every single month I'd pick somebody out of the audience and I'd say, come on up, let's do this 7 levels deep. Like, I got it, man. I know what it is. And I'm like, okay, so like, I'm gonna give you a quick example. I won't beat this up, but this is so important because when you feel fatigued, when you want to say no, when you don't want to go to the gym, when you don't want to make that sales call, when you don't want to get your funnel working, when you don't want to start new, when you don't want to say no to someone you should say no to, or say yes to someone else you should say yes to, literally for me still, I fall back on my why. And when I think of my kids and going backwards and being in control, I could push through anything. Nothing will stop me. A bad day. I don't know what it's like to be sick because my mind, I can program my brain to just power through because I focus foundationally on this why.
Right.
So I remember this guy, he was awesome. This big dude, he had dreadlocks. He was like 6'7". I mean, 6'5". He was huge. This awesome dude. He comes up. He's like, man, like pick me up. He gives me this big hug. He's like, so I said, why are you here? He's like, I already know, dude. You're not going to get 7 levels on me. You're not gonna. I've already done the exercise. He says, I'm here because in my neighborhood, there's no dads. There's not enough dads in my neighborhood. I grew up without a dad. These kids need dads. So I'm making money in real estate and I'm starting this youth group. I already had dad. We get dads together and we go spend these days. He had this amazing story. And I melted on the first one. And I said, well, why is that important? He goes, dude, what do you mean, why is that important to you? Of course it's important. And he's laughing, he's joking, and he gives me another reason. I want more money because I want to build a building for it. But I could tell he was still in his head. He gets to number 2 or 1 and everything changed on him. He gets small and he starts crying. I mean, like uncontrollable crying. And he gets to his number 1. He's like, my mom raised a good boy, but when she died 9 years ago, I was a drug addict. And she never saw the man she created. And she said, I'm showing her in heaven what a man I'm saying it right now. I got physical good. Yeah. He said that. And he said, I'll never stop now. I'll never stop. And again, we all have our own reasons for doing stuff, but when you get to the heart of why you're watching, why you do what you do, it's so much deeper than what you think. And I forget sometimes. I hope I don't sit here and seem like I got my life all figured out. I've been blessed to have I've had more blessings in my life than I ever could imagine. If somebody would have told me at 25 this is where I'd be, I'd say impossible. So I appreciate my blessings, but I'm not perfect at all this stuff, but when I practice these habits, when I think through this, when I recognize my why, the days that I'm off track, the days I think I bit off more than I can chew, or the days where I feel like I plateaued, when I go back to that why, it's like game over. You're not getting in my way. Nothing is.
So if your goal is to start your own business, but your priority is, even if you don't realize it, is to spend 3 hours a day on social media just wasting time, or to binge on Netflix episodes because you want to make sure you watch every single one. I'm not saying any of that's bad, but don't confuse priorities. If you say you want to lose weight, but it's a priority to you to eat what you want when you want because you're stressed, because you deserve it, because you work hard, well, then stop lying to yourself. Your priority is eating what you want when you want, and you're never going to lose weight. If you say you want to start your own business, but your priority is to be scared and work for a boss that's draining your life, or your priority is, I just need to make enough to pay the bills every month. I'm not saying that's bad, but don't confuse and feel conflicted when it truly is a conflict. So what I'd love to say today, and I literally am doing this exercise, and I do this probably quarterly, unless I forget, and then I was reminded today, is I want to see what the priorities in my life are. I mean, this is what I believe. I believe the priorities in my life are my children. I love being a dad. I love being a coach. I love being at all their baseball and softball practices, not just their games. I love being there to listen to them. I love being there to make breakfast for them and teach them lessons and have conversation in the car while we're going to practice. Like, that's a huge priority to me. Another priority to me is to continue to grow as a human. I want to not only conduct masterminds and create great courses, I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to be at masterminds, to learn from other courses, to learn from other teachers, so I can continue to grow. And the priority is not to learn through my own trial and error, to learn from other people's as well as my own. But I also know that sometimes I get sucked into saying yes to too many companies, and my focus is diluted. I know my priorities are, sometimes I go on social media to work, to do a video, to check what the competition is doing, and I get sucked in and 2 hours go by, and I can't afford 2 hours in my life. Somehow those things have creeped in to be a priority. I also know that I don't work out in the afternoon. I don't. And unless exercise is my number one priority about my health, when I wake up in the morning, my priority might be checking email first just to see if I could fix something before I go to the gym. And guess what? When I do that, if there's something there I don't like or something I need to fix, I'll spend the time and fix it right there in the moment. And then 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes will go by and I'll go, I missed my window for the gym. Maybe I'll do it later. And I never do. So it's not really a priority. And when it is a priority, I work out first. Now, here's another thing. Another priority is when I go to the gym, sometimes it's like, can I be there, work out, get some text messages done, and then still get an exercise in? No. And I've been slacking for the last 6 months trying to juggle that. Not in the last couple weeks. But now my priority is back that I want to be the healthiest I can. I have 9 and 11-year-old kids. I want to be 90 and still running around with my grandchildren. That's a freaking priority. And I had to set that priority straight. As much as I think it, this is the part that I want to share with you. I hope this is making sense. I know what my real priorities are that I want. But am I really making it a priority in my life? When I make my morning routine a priority, my days crush it. When I make eating healthy a priority, I eat clean with no worries. I don't miss the sugar. I don't miss the sweets. When I make a priority to be the best shape of my life for my children, I go crush it at the gym. When I make it a priority to never stop learning, to keep creating, I shoot great videos. I work hard. I want to change lives. I want to impact people because it's my priority. All those things, you can't do all of them at once. I understand that. But if they're all a priority in my life is included in there being a great dad. Those are my priorities. But guess what? Let's not fool ourselves. When the procrastination kicks in, something else became a priority. When you're wasting time on video games, something else became a priority. When you're ignoring your kids, maybe your job became your priority. You're ignoring your spouse or not giving the attention you need, giving back. You're wanting all this stuff, but you're not giving back. Something else became a priority. So all this is today is a call to action for you. That's what this podcast is about. I want you to get your priorities in check. And don't think you have to make it perfect today. Today, you should just start saying, where am I spending attention? Because where attention goes, life flows. And things will get better. If you're paying attention, if you're focusing on, if your priority is eating too much food, you will get really good at it. If your priority is smoking cigars, you could get really good at it and know all those. But is it healthy for you? I don't know. Priority of getting good at gambling. I don't know. I'm making shit up. Okay? My whole point is check the difference between what you think you want, what you think your priorities are, what your priorities, what you know in your gut should be, compared to where you're actually spending your time, because where your attention goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, results get better. And results can get better in the wrong direction.
The only reason you think about money is because there's not enough flowing into your life. Because when money flows into your life, you get to be your best you. And the only reason I'm sharing that is because so many people have this deep-seated fear of making extra money. Listen, if you can cut a check for a problem, you don't have that problem anymore. You worry about your kids, if you can cut a check, worrying about credit card bills, worrying about your business, worrying about your parents. If you can cut a check for that problem, does it solve the problem? We still have to work on us. It doesn't fix us, but it solves a lot of problems. So when I ask you why you want to make more money, why you want to diversify, why you want to have a new stream of income, I just want to give you this little example. I hired a consultant to help me be better with my students, get more people engaged to take action. He said to me, sits down for 2 minutes, he goes, well, did you ever teach them the 7 levels deep of why they're doing it? I said, no, but if it helps them, give it to me. He's like, no, you have to go through it or else I won't give it to you. I said, fine, I'll go through it. So the whole thing is, I'm going to wrap this up quick, is whatever answer you said when I said, why do you want to make more money? Ask the same question again with that answer. So my first answer was, I want to have an incredible company that changes the world while I make great money and can help other people. That was my first answer. Sounds noble, right? Sounds like that's all from the brain. That's solid. That's who we are. We got this company. We're going to change the world. But then he said to me, Dean, why is that important for you? With my answer, why is it important for you to have a solid business, to help change lives, to make the money? And I gave another message from my head of, I want to set the standard in my industry and get rid of all the crap. And I did about 4 or 5 answers. So I want you to do this tonight. Go through this 7 times. But what happens around the 4th time you ask yourself that question, you from your head to your heart. So I got to the 3rd one and I said, I never want to go backwards. Don't even know where it came from. You know, as a kid, we were broke as crap. I mean, I wore hand-me-downs. I got dropped off far from school so the kids wouldn't make fun of my mom's junky car. I was homeless at one point with my parents. We had no place to go. I'd lie and tell my friends I had no money at school. I'd tell them that, you know, I didn't feel like eating because my mom didn't have the bucks so I could eat that day. Now, it's not poor me. That shaped me. I love every bit of it. But I hated it, and I realized I didn't want to go backwards. I said, that's it. And he said to me, no, Dean, we're not done. It's 7 levels deep, not 5. So why don't you want to go backwards? And it just hit me. And I remember I got emotional. I got goosebumps. I said, I never want my kids to experience what I went through. I don't want to raise entitled kids, but I want them to have options. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. And he's like, no, there's one more. I'm like, what there could be? And it just hit me. I said, I want to be in control of my life. My parents got married 5 times each. If you're military or you moved a lot, you know what it's like. Every time you have friends, family, new school, you got to move. I moved 20 times by the time I was 19. And I just realized at that very moment, I wanted to be in control of my life. I wanted to dress the way I want. I wanted to do the work I wanted to work. I wanted to raise my kids the way I wanted. No one was going to tell me what to do in my adult life, and that was my why. If you're having a tough day, your business is and you just think you want emotional or financial support or financial freedom, it's not enough to get through a tough day. But when you know your true why, I went on stage for years doing this week after week, and I had a woman come up. A woman yesterday said she wanted to make money to travel the world. It reminded me of a woman came up. Her first why was, I want to travel the world. After 7 levels deep, she got to number 1. You know what she said? She goes, my physically abusive husband left me 2 years ago. On the way out the door, he said, you're a pathetic loser. You'll never amount to anything. And she goes, I'm going to show him wrong. Screw him. That was her why. Is that a stronger why than just wanting to travel the world? I had another guy stand up and he said, I want to change the youth in my neighborhood. There's not a lot of dads, no support. I want to create this company. I've already started making money. I'm going to take it to a next level. What a strong why coming from his head. You know what his number 1 was? That his mom died before she knew that she set a good example, and he showed her he was a loser while she was alive, and he was going to show her he was a winner in her death.
Let me tell you this story. One of the greatest things ever taught, I believe, is what Earl Nightingale so simply put in The Strangest Secret, that we are nothing more than the sum total of our thoughts. Now we know that, we hear it, you've heard me share it, you've read about it, but how does it actually stick in your life? How does it work in your life? Are you aware that you are nothing more than the total of your thoughts? You will become the person that follows or obeys the thoughts that you have. If you have thoughts of scarcity, of thoughts of getting taken advantage of, get thoughts of being the victim, get thoughts of have thoughts of being an entrepreneur who can handle anything, an entrepreneur who could just go to the ends of the earth and do what it takes. I mean, everything starts with a thought. But let me just share this with you. My daughter and my son and I went to Utah last weekend fishing. Fishing was one of the things we did. We just wanted to hang out, get out of the heat, and it's still hot here in Arizona. So we wanted to get out. So we jump on a plane and we go to Park City, Utah, having an amazing time. We go fishing, we learn how to fly. I hire some coaches to help my kids to get better. Dear friends actually helping. We did outdoor sports, we went bowling, we did all this great stuff. Long story short, my daughter's 11. And whether you're a parent or not, I'm just telling you, I had no idea that girl drama starts at about 10. It's like the plane lifts off the ground at 10 and girl drama starts. Girls are getting in cliques. Girls are making fun of other girls. And I'm not saying that girls like boys are bad, but boys are kind of wanting off to play sports at this age and Fortnite. Anyway, the drama starts. So my daughter is very, like I was, she needs everybody to like her to feel good about herself. Now, I work on that all the time, telling her, she needs her own self-worth, but she's 11 and we're working on it. So, long story short, we're coming back on this Sunday, and she wants to come back to go to a yoga class with 3 of her friends that she's kind of on the edge with. They're kind of cliquey, great girls, amazing girls. But that's just the way it is. It doesn't make any kids better. My daughter's not any better than any of those other girls. But she wanted to really go, and it was important to her. And she said, Dad, I really want to go to this yoga class and then lunch after, and I can bond with these girls. It'll just make it so much easier in school because I really like them. And one of them she felt bad for because she's moving and she really likes her, all this stuff. So I cut this trip short. I said, okay, Bree, you want to go back for that? I understand. I was your age once. Let's change the flight. So we changed the flight. Now I'm giving you this back story so you have context here. Now we changed the flight to get there with an hour's cushion. Yeah, I cut things kind of close. But we had an hour and a half cushion. We get to the airport, the flight's delayed for an hour. We didn't fly private, we flight commercial, we just had fun. We went up there, but we were an hour late. So now we're an hour late, and did you ever fly into planes? They're not super small, not super big, but they can't handle the big roll-on bags, so you got to leave them in the jetway, and then they have to you basically have to check the bag. So we had to check the bag. And all of a sudden I'm looking at time, and we're going to land at about the exact time this yoga class starts. And it was so important to my daughter. I get it. And you might say, it was a yoga class. No, it was more to that. 11-year-old girl trying to, do the right thing. It was a big deal to her. So all of a sudden, now why am I telling you this whole story? Because I watched my daughter say, Dad, we're not going to make it. Dad, we're going to be late. And I watched the stress, and I watched the feeling in her belly when she was telling herself we weren't going to make it. We had not yet gotten there late. We had not yet missed the appointment. But the story, her thoughts were already there. The story she was telling herself is that we were missing it, and I watched her mannerisms change. I watched her physiology change. I watched her mood change. She was sad. She was thinking of all these things, and I'll miss the class, and then Monday at school will be uncomfortable again because I didn't fix it with the one friend. All of those thoughts. One thing, a delay in the flight triggered 15 other thoughts. She wasn't even my regular daughter. She was sitting there sad. So we're going, and I said, here's what I told her. I said, Bree, now kids don't want lessons all the time. As adults, we want them because we want to go faster. But I said, Bree, wouldn't it be better to think that we're going to make it? No matter what, we're going to make it there on time? Because whether we make it there on time, I'd rather have the better thought on the way than being sad. So in my head, all I kept saying is, however we're going to do it, we're going to make it. The flight's going to go a little quicker. We're going to get the bags quicker than we thought. I'll drive quicker. We'll get there. And I was fine. And I do this all the time, but I've had 50 years of being on this earth to figure it out. She's 11. So long story short, we get there on time. We got there 10 minutes early. Drop her off. She got a big smile on her face, but she was stressed for 2 hours. The poor thing. So I waited till the next day, and I said, Bree, really simple. We could have been late. But we weren't. But either we were late or not, wouldn't it have been better for your heart, for your health, for your happiness, for the end of a great trip in Utah with your dad and your brother? Wouldn't it have been great to say, you know what, we're going to make it. I'm going to be there in time, no big deal. I'm going to get there and I'm going to bond with my friends. It's going to be amazing, and Monday in school will be great. I said, what, is that what happened? She goes, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Monday went, she ended up telling me afterwards that Monday went great because they bonded. I said, wouldn't it have been better to tell yourself that story over and over, and you would have had a great plane ride, you wouldn't have had stress, you wouldn't have had worry? And she's like, wow, Dad, that's the first time I really understand what you say about being the witness of your thoughts, or looking at your thoughts, or judge your thoughts. So let me ask you, what thoughts could you change right now? Listen, I'll be completely transparent. My ex-wife, who I'm dear friends with, and divorce sucks, for lack of a better word, but we've done an amazing job at it. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I watch her sometimes go down the path of having thoughts that'll drive her nuts. Like, why didn't it work out in the past? Why couldn't have we done something different? Or how come this is happening now? And I always tell her, I'm like, and I can watch her come right back. She'll get in a grumpy mood. I'll drop the kids off. She's like, hey, short with me. And I know she's letting thoughts get to her, which we all do. And then I remind her, she changes her thoughts. She's a completely different person. I remember listening to Wayne Dyer when he got diagnosed with leukemia. That's not what he passed away of, but when he got diagnosed with leukemia, he said he remembers telling himself, oh my God, I'm sick. I have leukemia. I'm not going to make it. And he felt like shit. He said, wait a minute. I have leukemia either way. The end result's going to be the same either way. So I'm just going to think I'm going to beat it. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be the example for leukemia victims or people with that disease. He changed it, and all of a sudden he was the happiest guy you ever saw with leukemia. Only because he changed one thing, his thoughts. So back to you. What thoughts are you having right now that don't serve you? They don't serve your bigger future. Judge them, analyze them. They are not you. There's two of us in there. Remember, you have double conversations all the time. You're not schizo. We have two conversations. You know, you can be walking in a room while simultaneously you're saying, wow, why did they wear that? Or wow, this is a weird color painting that they put up on the wall. Like, you know, we have two thoughts always going on in our head. So with those two thoughts, divide one to analyze your thoughts and be like, why the hell would you think that? Why would you think we're going to be late, miss it, and my friends aren't going to like me, when you can think I'm going to be on time and my friends are going to love me? One makes you feel happy, one makes you feel like one can say, I learned from a bad relationship and my next one's going to be amazing, or my past relationship, I screwed up, I suck, and I'm always going to be miserable. One makes you happy, one makes you sad. Wayne Dyer could have said, I have leukemia, this sucks, I'm going to be sick, I'm going to die. Or I have leukemia, I'm going to beat it, and I'm going to still inspire the world. One makes you sad, one makes you happy. One makes you empowered, one takes away your power. Which one do you want? I'm asking you right now to think about this. What are the stinking thoughts that you're having in your head that are holding you back, causing you pain, making you suffer, and not allowing you to go to the next level? Analyze your thoughts this week more than ever before in your life. So David Keckage is a friend of a friend really, but I've met him a couple times, great guy. And he was paralyzed from the neck down, a guy that was into health and fitness and taking care of his body. And living in a wheelchair, not being able to do anything for himself, he's thrived on a whole new level and does so much for innovating and helping other people with the same circumstances. But the reason I'm sharing this is because he did 30 Keckage credos to live by if you want to live a joyful life. And this is somebody in a wheelchair now. Remember the obstacles he has every single day when he wakes up. Can barely swallow on his own. I mean, think about that, right? So one of his credos is, if you live life the hard way, it's easy. And if you live life the easy way, it's hard. And here's what I equate that to. We have to pick our pain. Think about that. Now, let's just use a silly analogy. Is working out easy? No, it's a pain in the butt. Going to the gym, it might be hard. It's painful, right? But not exercising and not working out, will that be painful someday in your life? Will it be that you're out of shape and you get heart failure? Will it be out of shape and you're overweight and get diabetes? Will it be out of shape that you don't have muscle tone and you break a hip someday? I mean, you might be young, not thinking about that now, but living the easy way of no working out, can that be more painful? Absolutely. What about eating healthy? Can it be painful to eat the right food and not choose the greasy fried food and not get up and have a coffee and a donut and try to have green juices and live green veggies and eat lean protein and do those things? Is that a pain? Yeah. And it's kind of hard. It's the hard way. It's the hard way, but it gives you an easy life. So you're full of abundance, joy. You feel healthy. You want to thrive. You can run. If you have kids, you can move, or when you have kids someday, or you can live to see your great grandchildren, right? So living the hard way, meaning do the right thing, eat the right food, work out, might be a little hard, but that's the path to an easy life. If you want to live the easy way now and not work out and eat terrible food, maybe it's temporarily easy, but will that give you long-term health and satisfaction? And even if you make the money without your health, are you really wealthy? Heck no, right? But think about that also with your success. This is the Millionaire Success Habits podcast. But the foundation for success is if I gave you the tools to make money, but didn't share with you that you should be fulfilled and satisfied and healthy, then I'm just a fraud. Because it all ties together. If you got money out of the way today, the next thing you would be worrying about or thinking about is, how do you live the best version of you? How do you be the best mom, dad, son, brother, cousin, spouse, right? So I want you to think about it when it comes to your next level of income, next level of long-term wealth, or starting a side business. The easy way is hard in the long run. The easy way is to settle for the job that you're in that's killing you. The easy way is to look for a magic money machine online and not spend time with your habits. The easy way is hope that someone does it for you. The easy way is to hope the government changes the rules and more money comes to you. That's all the easy way. And what do? You sit around and hope for years and years and years, and then you look back at the end of your life and time is gone. You look back at the end of your life and you go, I wish I would have gone after it harder. in the beginning. So the hard way may be listening to podcasts like this, reading books like Millionaire Success Habits and all the other books that come from people that are actually doing it, or get enrolled in courses, or get involved in a mastermind, or dig deep to find the research to know if you're in the right path, if you're in a future-proof industry or not. Yeah, that might be a little harder now. It might be harder now to wake up when everybody in your family tells you you're insane, when your friends and relatives say you should be happy with the life you have, or people tell you you don't have enough money, you don't have the right education, you don't live in the right area, you don't have the right pedigree, you didn't get the right degree. People can all tell you that. And it's hard to overcome them. It's hard to overcome getting up and going for it. It's hard to overcome procrastination. It's hard to overcome getting sucked into social media. Go check your bank account and 2 hours go by going down rabbit holes of stupid things. That's hard. It's hard if you're in a relationship and the other person thinks that you should be strict and steady in your job and do the right thing and follow the rules. It's hard to step out of the line when 98% of the world listen to somebody else. They live a mediocre life. They live an okay life. Do you want to live an okay life? Or do you want to live an outstanding life? Do you want to live a good life? How's your relationship? Good. How's your health? Good. How's your income? Good. How's your job? Good. Do you want to live good? Or do you want to live excellence? Do you want to live great? Do you want to live an outstanding life? If we do, then David Keckage has it right. The Keckage credo that if you want to live the hard way now gives you the easy life. The easy way now gives you the hard life. My stepdad, who has been my stepdad since I was 9 years old, so I've known him for 41 years. He was my mom's high school sweetheart. They went to the prom together, and then he went away to the army. She married my dad, and then they got back together. Great guy. 2 days ago, he had a stroke in the middle of the night. Kind of haven't slept much since. Had a stroke, and then the next day he had a heart attack, and he's not doing so great. And I've been spending a lot of time with him, and I see him sitting. He can't talk because of the stroke. And I see him looking around and looking at his family and looking at my mom and his kids. And I just know it's like you've heard so many times in the book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. You know that Covey talks about coming to the end of your life and literally being in the hospital and hearing the buttons and the beeps and hearing people talk about you. When you look, who do you want to see? Who do you want to be there? And what do you want them to be saying about you? Think about that. Now, I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm just in this space for me personally. But here's what I know is how long are you going to put off what you crave so bad? If you're watching a Millionaire Success Habits or listening to a Millionaire Success Habits podcast, you want another level of life. But there's things in your life that right now you should be saying no to. Right now you should be saying yes to and going after. But we think we have all this time. Listen, my stepdad, he's young. He's only 76 years old. I bet to say, looking through his eyes, that he just felt like he'd have forever. Listen, today, I'm more personal in the podcast than I am in any other place. Today, I broke down and cried in a way I haven't in a really long time. I'm parking so I can talk here. I broke down today and I cried really hard. I cried because some of it was just looking through his eyes and I could see the sadness of wow, is this it? Is it over? And I'd love for you to just take a moment and think about if this was the end of your life. What should you be saying no to right this second? What should you be saying yes to right this second? Here's what I know. People who say money can't buy happiness or money doesn't make you happy, to me, you haven't made enough and you haven't given enough away. So get rid of that money is evil thing. That's just foolish. I'm blessed to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it because I got money out of the way. That's great. So you might be saying, good for you, Dean. But I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, if money is important, that next level is important so you can pay for speed, so you can pay for freedom, so you can pay for control of your life, then freaking go for it. But find the balance. Find out why you're doing it right now. What does success mean to you? You know what it means to me in my life right now is that I get to do what I want when I want with my kids. They're 9 and 11. They're growing so fast, I can't slow it down. So I want to coach Little League. I want to coach softball. I want to go to every game. But here's what I know. I've even slacked. And you know, I love doing this training. I love sharing with you because if I'm not congruent, if I don't share a message that I actually live, then I'm kind of, for lack of a better word, I'm just someone babbling. You're not here because you just want to hear someone talk. You want to hear someone who's been through it, who can admit their flaws. I love saying this and love talking about it because I screw this up sometimes. I want to tell you something. This is really personal. Today, at 4 o'clock, my daughter, she's 11, she pitches, she's a great pitcher, she made the all-star team, but today they're going to the local high school team that's really good, Arcadia High School. And I got them tickets, I got them all set up, but I had work to do, so I was going to let them go and all her friends. And screw that. Because of what I'm going through with Lenny and seeing that, what am I going to get some more emails done, work on my next $1 million? I'm not saying it to brag, I'm just saying, what am I going to do? Or when I'm on my deathbed, am I going to say, I wish I answered more emails, or I wish I went to that softball game with my daughter and watched her face when she saw high school girls play? Not even a question. Then at 6:30, the game's at 4, at 6:30, I missed my son's last 2 practices because I was really busy. But the 2 before that, I've been coaching him since he was 4 years old. Coaching, assistant coach, glove on, out there, getting dirty. But I have to tell you, this last year, I've kind of let the coaches coach, and I sat back on the bench and answered emails and got work done. I figured it was a great place to get 2 hours worth of work done while my son was out there. And I realized today, screw that. You see what's right here in my passenger seat? That's my baseball glove. Today, there's shorts. Look, I got a pair of shorts in the back seat. I'm going to change it in the car. And today, I'm getting dirty again. I'm going back and practicing with my son again today. Screw that. When I'm where Lenny, my stepdad's name is Lenny, where I'm where Lenny is, I'm not going to be saying, boy, thank God all those baseball practices after the age of 9, I got all those emails done. No, screw that. I'm going to say I was on the field looking at my son in the eye, him watching me be intent, be in the moment, live in the now.
Know where you are, be honest. Know where you want to go. Most people don't. Know why the hell you want it. Get emotionally charged. Get your heart involved. And then what's the how? The how is the bridge. We're talking about the how. Right now, this is the how stuff, right? So, but what stops so many people, I want you to think about this, what stops so many people to go from where you are to where it is you want to go. And if you're on this watching me right now, there's someplace else you want to go, another level of income, life, freedom, control of your life. Sometimes between the bridge, the how should be there, whether it's real estate or stocks or the internet or your business or your company, whatever the how is. But what's in there too is a story. And sometimes the only thing standing between you and the life you deserve and you desire is the story that you tell yourself without even realizing it. And I'm going to just encourage you as we go through this is to look out for those disempowering stories. Whenever you're going through this process, when we talk about it, you might go, you know what, I'm really good at negotiating. I'm good at selling. And then all of a sudden the story will tell, salespeople are cheesy. And then you got to be a salesperson. And then what if you had to quit your job to be it? No, that's probably not. You know, my uncle was a salesperson and he tried and he was kind of lame. And then he went broke when he was older. No, sales is bad. Okay, and subtly your body told you that story without even realizing it. You got a little anxious about it and you retreated back to the way you are. Or you have a story, I'm just use real estate for example. It's like, you know what? The hell with this. There's $1 trillion in cash coming in the real estate market this year. No more sitting on the sidelines. No more doing a deal every 3 months. I'm going for this. And all of a sudden you remember someone else who lost all their money in the last real estate bust because they weren't educated. They weren't getting capabilities like you are. They didn't have the path. But that doesn't matter. Your subconscious, your ego, your emotions told you that. That story popped up and you go, and then you dabble, right? The story will make you dabble. The story will make you not jump in with both feet. And then the story is self-fulfilling. Like, see, I knew that wouldn't work. No, you have to call that story out. When you feel it, when you see it, when you're dreaming, when you're looking to that new level and this story pops up that was your parents or your cousin or a teacher or a self-defeating belief that you got off the news, when that story pops up, you need to recognize it. Call it out like it's a thing. It's not an event, it's a thing. Call it out and go, oh, what is that story? Write it down. I can't make money in my area because it's too small, it's too big, it's moving too quick. I don't have the money, I don't have the education, I don't have the people. And then go prove it's crap. What stands between us and where we want to go is never what we think it is. It's not the economy. It's not the president. It's not that somebody already dominated the health food industry or dominated Facebook advertising or dominated TV advertising or there's no room left. It's never that. It's always the story we tell ourselves on why we can't achieve that. And if I wanted to boil it down, I would just say, what is your biggest why? What's your biggest goal that you would love? If it was a year from now and we were sitting here, you're watching this and it was a year later and it was the best year of your life, what would be the biggest thing that would have changed in your life? From money, income, family, love, intimacy, being a better dad, mom, whatever that is, if you say to yourself, I would love that goal. Like I'd love to have my company doing $1 million a year in net profit so I could have freedom for my family. Then just say but. And whatever that but is usually your story. It's like, I would love my company to be doing $1 million yet, but I live in a smaller town and there's just not enough people to do it. Or the internet's so saturated, there's no room to advertise on Facebook anymore because everybody and their brother's on. Whatever that story is usually your story, and that's the results you get. And that story is the thing standing between you and your next level. And I know people are watching right now going, oh, Dean, that's nice. You guys got money now, so it's easy. I don't have any money. I don't have a partner. I don't have any business experience. This economy's not right for what we do. And where there's that old saying, where there's a will, there's a way. If your story is that's what you'll continue to get. So what I would say is, if I was going to boil it down, is find what that story is. Now to you might be saying, Dean, you're saying it's a belief, it's reality. And maybe it's phase 3, but reality is nothing more than our perception of a situation, right? We all know that. You've read that about it, you've watched it on Tom's show, everybody has said it, but maybe this is the first time you actually think about it, that reality you think is holding you back is really just the story. So there's 2 things I say, is go find somebody else with that same story. Like go look at your evolution, where you were on your couch, no money, right? Go look at Richard Branson's story. Look at Tony Robbins' story. Look at, John Paul DiGiorio, or all the amazing books. I've read every book in there. That's amazing, the people that you've got to interview and meet. But read all those stories and realize that, first of all, that story you have is probably a lie. Right? So if you can find proof, like leverage that it's a lie, that's one thing. But then the one that would get me is, I love aspiration. I love to look and say, look what you did, man. I want to get there. If he did it, I can do it. But sometimes you need the pain as well. So what I like to do is, I like to think, take that story and think it's 5 years from now, and think it's 10 years from now, and you're still in the same exact spot you are now. You're still worried, you still have envy, you still want more, you desire more, you want to take care of your family, you want to provide more. And think that story, those 2 sentences, is the thing holding you back. Do you really want to give that story that much power? And then think it's 10 years from now, and that story is still done. And all of a sudden, for me, I think, am I going to let that story stop me? I brought my son with me today. Am I going to stop from giving him the opportunities that I didn't? I have 2 children. I'm not raising entitled kids. I want to give him massive opportunity. I don't want to leave him a trust fund. I'm going to leave him massive opportunity and train him. I'm not going to let any story get in the way of me being that dad. And if a story pops up that says, hey, I can't make baseball this week because of this, I'll change the story. I'll fist fight with that story. And I'll look at the pain I'll have if I keep that story. So I love the aspirational part of, this story will stop me from my new life, but I also like, are you going to let that story screw you around for the next 5, 10, 15 years? I mean, man, we're going to be 90 laying in a bed looking up, like, before we know it. And do you want to think, I squeezed all I could out of life, or did I let just beliefs that other people gave me hold me back? I'm recording this early Monday morning. I haven't had an inch of food, an ounce of food, since Saturday, because I'm doing a procedure. I'm doing a colonoscopy. I turned 50 this year. I got to get it done. I've been putting it off. And I want to share that with you, as crazy as that sounds, is because that's life, is doing the things we don't want to do and finding a way to empower and power through them to get to the other side. So let me just give you a little background. Not that you give a crap about this, but my grandfather and a couple of my uncles died of colon cancer. So every 5 years, I go get a colonoscopy. I went 5 years ago. They found some stuff. They said, just do it again. So I'm going, I'm fine, all that. But why am I sharing this? Because I love to eat. I've never fasted in my entire life. I'm skinny and I have to eat all day, every day, just to maintain this massive frame of mine. No, this 150 pounds I've been 150 pounds since right out of high school. I have to eat a lot. That's just the way I'm genetically made up. Not eating a meal drives me crazy. Nevertheless, 2 days and nothing but water. And then I made my kids a massive meal yesterday. I took them for ice cream last night because Sunday's our cheat day. I got up this morning, made them an amazing meal, and nothing. So you're saying, okay, Dean, who really cares about your colonoscopy and you're hungry? Ooh, big deal. But here's how I like to approach everything in life. And I think it's served me really well when it comes to success.
is there are so many things we don't like to do. I put this off for a little bit. I should have done it about 6 months ago. But then I just thought, what are the benefits of me getting this done? Well, peace of mind, massive peace of mind to know that I got nothing bugging me, because I want to live to be 100, to be here for my kids and my grandchildren. Knowing it's out of the way, knowing a clean bill of health. I mean, think about this, right? I love that Indian proverb that says, a man who has his health has 1,000 wishes. A man who has none has just but one, or has but just one. I'm a little delirious right now without food. But anyway, the reason I'm sharing this today is I think this should be your wake-up call. I think this podcast that you're listening to right now, you're listening to for me for a reason. I kind of hit the same points over and over in different ways, because that, I mean, if you like a good song, how many times do you listen to it? 100 times? 200 times? 500 times? Well, if there's a message that can empower your life, shouldn't you listen to it over and over until you finally freaking do it? I want you to think about today. This colonoscopy, I guess I got to say the pun. It's a real pain in the ass. From the food, I got to go get put to sleep today. I can't drive myself. It's such a pain in the ass. Starting your business is a pain in the ass. Obsessing on marketing more than just your product, sometimes a pain in the ass. Convincing your spouse, your friends, your family, your loved ones, your parents, your significant other that you're going to maybe phase out of your job and scale up your business, or you want to start that thing that fills your heart and go with your passion. You want to start music, an online career. You want to start selling stuff on Amazon, start real estate. All that can sound so scary to other people. So then you dim your glow. You turn your brightness down to match everybody else because it's going to be a pain. Listen, everything in life starts as something that's a struggle, or annoying, or hard, or frustrating, or scary. But if you just settle, then you just leave your life the way it is. I mean, if your life was absolutely perfect, you'd be listening to something different than my podcast. You want another level of life. And I'm here to tell you, it's just like this damn colonoscopy. I don't want to do it, but I want the results it's going to give me. I shared with you guys a message or a podcast about going to the gym and about focusing on after. Now I want you to talk about something even more serious. Is what in your life are you procrastinating on? What if this podcast was your wake-up call to be maybe the first time you've heard it and actually implemented it, that you're going to identify the things that you're hiding from, the things that you're tucking down, the things that you pretend you're too busy to do, the things you're procrastinating on, and turn your ship towards that. What if it's time to say enough is enough? I deserve a next level of life. I deserve more. That's why, I mean, as simple as this little colonoscopy thing is, I don't want to do it, but I want the end result. So I'm willing to sacrifice a little to benefit a lot. What are you avoiding the sacrifice on? It's time to sacrifice, and it's only little. Listen, success is so awesome when you're there because not many people are willing to go through the struggle to get there. You know, we get so lost in being something for someone else. Do we really remember who we are? Answer that question honestly. Think about that. I mean, maybe you were somebody for your parents when you were younger. Maybe you were someone for your teachers. Maybe you were someone for your first girlfriend, your first boyfriend. Maybe you're someone right now for your husband or your wife or your current situation with your parents. Or maybe you're someone for your boss. Maybe you're a certain someone at church on Sundays. And maybe you're another certain someone when the doors close and no one's watching. So, I mean, what version of you is really you? And I want to, that's a thought-provoking question on purpose, because life is going by so fast, it's unbelievable. And I mean, at least for me, I don't know about you, but the last 5 years, oh my God, it's on hyperspeed. I would slow it down. My kids right now are, as I'm sharing this, are 9 and 11. Like 5 minutes ago, they were babies. And that means in 5 minutes from now, they'll be graduating high school. And 5 minutes after that, they'll be, getting married, having their own kids. So let me ask you, are you wasting any time being someone that's not really you? You see, we are these, and we all do it. Don't think as I say that I'm perfect and I'm just this oneness and no, I'm not. But I'm acknowledging it and I'm aware of it and I work on it, because here's what I think. I think the ideal happiness, like we're all looking for happiness. We're all looking for more yay and less right, in our lives. I think we can all agree that's true. But when you're being someone else for everybody else, are you really being true to the best version of you? See, we're someone in front of all these other people, and we're someone if we're a boss or if we're an employee or any of that stuff, right? But then who's the person late at night when no one's around? Who's the person when you're thinking and your mind's just going? When the ego's not there, when the outside influences aren't there, when maybe you're a little bit more vulnerable. Who is that person? You see, here's what I know. Here's what I believe the definition of success is. First, it's knowing what success means to you. I know I'm being successful when? I know I'm being successful when I'm spending time with my family. I know I'm being successful when I have complete control of my life. I know I'm being successful when I have freedom to make the choices I want. First off is knowing what success means to you. But I think there's another layer, like there's another level. And the next level is, I know I'm being successful when I know who I am and I'm just being that. Imagine being congruent in all areas of your life. Everything, like your phone, you could leave it unlocked and open no matter where you go. If your boss was listening in, or your employees were listening in, or your business partner was listening in on every conversation of your life, you wouldn't care. If your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your parents were hearing what you said when no one was around. If your friends, then when you're with one group or one set of friends and you go with another group, if they could hear everything you'd say, it wouldn't matter. Imagine how successful, when I talk success, yes, I mean money, but I mean all the other pieces too. Imagine how successful we would be if we were just one version. There wasn't any hidden compartments. Do we all have secrets? Of course. I don't care who you are, unless maybe Mother Teresa. We all have secrets. We all have things that maybe we don't want everyone to know about. But what if we could work? What if we could work over time to become so congruent that there's only one version of you?
If you want another amazing Dean Graziosi video, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
People say, how do you get so much done? How do you run a business and still coach Little League and baseball and softball? How do you do all those things? It's because of just simple success habits.
You are what you consistently do.